So Marsteller, they tell me you're the best. I'm gonna give you a run for your money.
Not today.
The guys on the fix spend a lot of blood, sweat, and tears preparing for their season. So when they have some downtime, it's not unusual for an over-dramatic, friendly showdown to take place right in the backyard. In this case, it was Marsteller riding off into the sunset victorious, and John Day laying under the proverbial tombstone.
Jose, who do you think had the most success this past season?
John Day, by far, right? John went out of state. Yeah, he did well at home. He did well away from home. John Day all the way.
Whitetail Fix is presented by Wildlife Research Center. Whitetail Fix is brought to you by Banks Outdoors, where memories are made. Mike Marsteller may have enjoyed his moment in the spotlight during a backyard shootout, but when it comes to his 2020 hunting season, John Day and company were the clear winners.
I had an amazing season.
Him and Daniel went out west and took down an antelope.
Got my first antelope, took the app here.
A whitetail.
Whitetail in Wyoming.
A pair of elk. And not one.
I got my first mule deer.
Not two.
Killed all my tags out west this year.
But 3 mule deer.
Hey, you deserve it. I'm glad you were with me on this moment, brother.
If John's season had ended right then and there, it'd still be considered, by all accounts, a perfect season.
Jesse, who do you think had the most success this past season?
In sheer numbers, probably John. He killed almost every animal you can kill in the western United States.
One subject that isn't discussed much is the sheer toughness of the common whitetail. When one looks at a bear or a mountain lion, precautions are taken to protect oneself from the loss of life or limb. But when one looks at Bambi, no one is shaking in their boots. A fact that might come as a shock to any unseasoned hunter. Deer can defend themselves, and they can do it quite well, not including fatalities caused by deer-related vehicle collisions. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates non-livestock mammals like deer, elk, and moose account for around 52 deaths per year, not a number to shake a stick at. Luckily for us, most hunters have common sense, so the odds of being attacked by a wild deer are quite low. Luckily for the deer, though, they have other mechanisms of self-defense, namely their sense of smell. Now, to put things in perspective, the nose of a white-tailed deer has up to 297 million olfactory receptors. Dogs have 220 million, and humans having just 5 million. As you can see, this is why scent control is a top priority with any serious hunter.
That's John out there, everybody, after I detected some fabric softener smell on him when he got in the truck this morning. So he had a nervous breakdown. Now we're back at his house on November the 6th instead of being in the woods because he had a little bit of Downy Mountain Fresh on his hunting clothes.
As stated, these guys take scent control pretty serious, even to the point of not even hunting if a strong scent is detectable. And John knows that if Jesse can smell his fabric softener, well, there's just no way he's climbing into a stand. Under most circumstances, your scent lock suit and a good spray down with scent killer will do enough to keep body odor under control. But there are some scents developed by some pretty smart people at Wildlife Research Center that actually attract the big bucks right to your shooting lanes.
Early season, it's August, the work begins. I start out using Wildlife Research's Trails In 307. I'll bump it up to Active Cam, which is a new product from Wildlife Research. It's awesome. Then when it gets close to the rut time, I'll go into Golden Estrus and when the rut activity begins, and then you get bucks fighting for position coming in, checking scrapes. Basically, I mean, it starts now, August, and that's what we're out doing, and hopefully it pays off. Over here, I've got a Reconyx camera. I've got it a little further away, but they're worth every penny that they cost, because Reconyx has got an unbelievable range. And then I can size up, find out what I got going on here.
Who do you think had the most success this past season?
Team member with the most success? If you attribute success to animal harvest, I mean, Jon Day was all over the map, literally, with animals left and right.
Definitely agree. Jon Day, he had an unbelievable season.
I learned that from Jesse Fullwider. Just ask somebody else to come help you and then just let them do it. Daniel carried that all the way down about 500 yards, just like you just seen, to come down here and hang over this food plot. This is ambush, oats, tall tine tubers, imperial clover, all from Whitetail Institute. This is a replant because we had it flood out down here. It's really, really nice and plush. We need a rain this week because this field's gonna be dynamite. So we're setting up this buddy stand right over here in this corner. I don't like that we're tucking away and taking away from this corner right over here. But I've hunted this in the past and they stage up out here and bed in that. So I'm gonna literally be able to park in my truck with my daughter, walk down this creek and go right up. And basically what I'm doing is I'm hunting the outskirts of it. I'm never crossing it, I'm never putting my scent across here.
If you've never watched the thought process of someone that loves hunting, well, you're missing out on some valuable lessons on the how and why these guys see the success they do in any given season. To quote the Roman philosopher Seneca, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
And that's the whole idea of this preparation, this stand. Hopefully it pays off for somebody.
Mike, who do you think had the most success this past season?
Oh, for sure, Jon Day had a great season. That western swing he and Daniel did, I mean, they just laid them down everywhere they went.
I've got to give to Jon Day again. He's filled that freezer.
We think it's fair to say that the fixed team members are in agreement that Jon Day had the most success over the season. But even with everything he's already accomplished, he still had his Indiana tag, and it's already mid-November.
After 19 days, grueling it out with Jesse and archery season, finally the firearm season came. He went to go hunt with this boy, which I was glad for, but I needed somebody to film me because it wasn't over yet, and I went ahead and went hunting, and this beautiful person came to film me.
Steve, tell me something about Jon Day.
Jon Day is a super nice guy, do anything for you. I don't know what words you can describe Jon Day other than just too nice.
He is a professional rabbit hunter.
Competitive.
He owns a roofing company.
Jon Day may be a competitive, nice guy who likes to hunt rabbits and owns a roofing company, but the only thing on his mind when he's still holding a tag in mid-November is to get out and fill it by any means necessary.
I believe this is my 16th day in a row hunting here in Indiana, and we have not got a deer on the ground. But I've got my beautiful bride filming me today because Jesse's hunting with his boy, so Lord willing, me, and most importantly, Sutton, can get his first deer done today.
When it comes to filming hunts, there's a lot of trial and error as one goes through the learning curve of handling a camera while confined to a small area or strapped to a tree 20 plus feet in the air. To name just a few simple obstacles, you've got trees and branches in the way, your field of view is limited to your placement in the blind or the tree, and to top it off, one must learn the camera controls.
Just so you know, this is the first time I've ever filmed and been in a stand.
Well, Jen's comment right there kinda hints at the fact things didn't go exactly perfect on this hunt. So before we even continue, let's step back about a week to November 7th, when Jon was the cameraman for Jesse and a big buck chased a doe right to their stand.
I get my bow off the hanger, I get locked onto my string with my release, and all I need them to do is clear the backside of the tree. But when you're running a camera, your cameraman's off the backside of the tree, so I have the tree in the way, Jon in the way. He's having to make adjustments with the camera that you typically don't have to make. And well, I mean, just watch how this unfolds, but more importantly than watching how it unfolds, listen to how this unfolds.
I screwed up on Jesse's and I cost him a deer. A deer stopped 15 yards right behind our stand because he heard the creak from the camera.
As you've already guessed, this buck didn't stick around to see where the fun noises were coming from.
I didn't loosen the side nut on the side, so the camera was, that's why it went.
Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead with what happened on November 14th, when the same buck runs into Jon's shooting lane.
I mean, it wasn't an hour and 15 minutes, just sitting there chilling. I look over and coming out of the deep, dark thicket, here comes the deer that I screwed up on Jesse. And I recognized immediately what deer it was. And I mean, he was 150 yards away and I knew what deer that was. And I looked at her and I said, shoot her. I was like, get ready. I go, he's coming right down the middle, coming right for us. Get ready, right there, right there.
As this buck made its way out of the thicket and came closer and closer to its date with destiny, the unthinkable happens in the stand.
The one thing I failed to tell her was, hey, there he is. Make sure whatever you do, hit record, just hit record.
Of the many things that must be taught to a newcomer in the world of filming hunts, the very first thing would be to make sure that they remember to hit record when it's time to film.
That was crazy. I mean, it was absolute pandemonium. And she couldn't get it in frame. So I grabbed the camera, not knowingly that she didn't hit record. And I don't think we got him filmed on the kill shot, but it is what it is. I'm pretty confident that there was a hit right there. Hey, Jen, see how fast that can happen?
As Jon said, things can happen fast when filming a hunt. If you don't get it right, you'll miss the shot in that one moment you work so long and hard to get to.
This whole experience, I mean, was my fault.
It's unfortunate that Jen wasn't given more time to practice and learn. On a positive note, Jon has yet another animal to add to his list of kills in 2020.
Have you ever had any mishaps while filming?
I have absolutely had some mishaps. I think it's inevitable, right? You're out there, you're filming for X amount of years. It's bound to happen, as proof to last year's
debacle.
Yeah.
When filming a hunt, sometimes things just happen, and these things seem to be out of our control, as Jen found out the hard way. But even our people with experience, like Jon, and like Stacy DeSantis, who's laid down some of the best footage in the past. She was filming Ernie last season, and he was about to pull the trigger on a buck he called Jaw Dropper.
You see him? Please, baby, he's right here. Baby, look.
That was challenging. The deer was out of focus. I couldn't find it. I couldn't see in the LCD. I had the camera on a tripod, which that is no more for me. I have thrown that thing to the curb and I'm freehanding now.
Can you?
Yes.
Did you have him?
Yes, I had him in there, but it was far away and I don't think it was.
He's down. He's down.
Stacy was unable to get the buck in focus, and Ernie had to take the shot. Things like this just come with the territory and are accepted with grace.
That is jaw dropper. Do you see this deer?
Look, learn from your mistakes. You got to figure out what you can do better next time, right? You get a lesson from a teacher in the blind, and then you learn from that and you move forward, you practice, right? It'll get better. Hang in there, Jen. It's going to be great. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
Jon, rightfully so, takes full responsibility for this little mishap and for not properly preparing Jen for the task. But with the season he's had, we think he'll be just fine with this one little mistake.
This deer that we got, Jesse called him Curly. I called him Diaz just because he was a 10-pointer. And he was narrow. I knew exactly immediately what deer it was when it was coming down through the middle of the cut. And Jennifer and I couldn't come together on the camera. It's hard, man, when you're doing the camera equipment and you're trying to put a kill together and you're having to communicate with the other person to see whether, you know, they've got it before you take the shot. I mean, it takes extreme patience. A lot of stuff can go wrong. And that's what happened.
Whitetail Fix is presented by Wildlife Research Center.
Harold, I'll take you out to dinner tonight since you went out and froze with me at 28 degrees. All right.